Are you getting traffic to your shop but not seeing the sales numbers that you would like? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about what that means and the top 5 ways to fix it.
Welcome to the Handmade Entrepreneur Life. I'm your host, Katherine Hampton. Together we are journeying through life as handmade entrepreneurs. I started my journey in 2013 and have successfully built a business that generates multiple 6 figures year after year. My goal is to share strategies and techniques that I have learned so that you can skip the stress and jump straight to success. Now let's get started.
Hello, handmade entrepreneur friends. The summer is in full swing here. It's my little niece's birthday this week, so I have been working extra long hours to make sure that I can take the day off to spend some time with her. She's going to be 9 years old, and she's asked for a trip to the nail salon, so it just cracks me up because I would have never even known to ask about going to the nail salon when I was at that age, but I guess it just shows how much everything's changing and the world's changing. And my husband, Tommy, and I, we've decided that we're going to, like a few years ago, we decided that we would start taking her to the water park for her birthday instead of buying her more stuff. So we'll be doing that too in the next couple of weeks. So if you follow me on Instagram at the Handmade Entrepreneur Life, you'll see some of the pictures from that, as long as what's going on with my handmade shop and with the Handmade Entrepreneur Life. So I'd love for you to join me over there. But with the joys of summer can also come with a shop slowdown for some of us. And if you missed it, I also recommend checking out episode 3. It's called Use the Slow Seasons to Your Advantage for tips on how I use this time of the year to prepare for the busier times of the year. So the slower paced times of the year are also a good time to look at areas of your shop that may need improvement. And an important metric to look at is your conversion rate. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing that we want to start with is, what the heck is a conversion rate? Your conversion rate is the number of visitors to your shop that then become buyers. Now, this is not your views. I don't want you to look at your views because that's going to skew the calculations. Etsy lets you look at both of those numbers now, and we're just going to look at the actual visitors. So conversion rates, they vary widely between industries that you look at, and we're going to specifically talk about e-commerce. And a conversion rate of 2 to 3% in e-commerce is generally considered to be pretty good. So that means that for every 100 visitors, you would like to see 2 to 3 sales. That's going to tell you that you have a pretty healthy shop. Ideally 3 to 4 sales, but 2 to 3 means that for the most part, your shop is healthy. Now, if you're getting less than that, it's time to take a good look at what needs to be improved. So how do we calculate the conversion rate? You're going to take your sales divided by your total visitors, and you're going to multiply that by 100, and that's going to equal your conversion rate. So take the number of your orders. It's going to be preferably over a 30-day period. You can do it for longer amounts of time, maybe if you want to do it for 60 days or 90 days, but no less amount of time than 30 days. Divide that by the number of visitors, and the important thing is that you stay consistent with the amount of time that you use. So don't use 30 days this time, and then if you want to check it in a month, use 60 days the next time. Make sure that you're using the same increment of time every time that you check it or you measure it to decide if you need to make changes. But never any less than 30 days. So, for example, if you have 10 orders, you divide that by 1,000 visits, then you're going to come out with 0.1. Then you multiply that by 100, you get 1%. So that would mean that you have a low conversion rate. You're not meeting that 2 to 3%. So say that you've calculated your conversion rate. It's not where you would like it to be. What are you going to do next? Now it's time to perform a shop evaluation and we're going to see what could be bringing your conversion rate down. The first thing that you're going to want to look at is your photos. Photos are at the very top of the list. They're the first thing that your customers see and what lead customers to click to your storefront for more information. It's extremely important that the first picture is clear and not cluttered with a bunch of extra stuff. So I want you to try to keep the first photo to just the item that's for sale. I completely understand and appreciate the need to want to make that first photo artistic and add a flower or ribbons or extra stones, but it's super important to keep in mind that when that photo gets condensed to a thumbnail image, it really starts to make it look cluttered. So keep that first image as simple as possible and on a light background, preferably white if you can. So it should be ideally white or light gray, but if your item is white, so if whatever you're selling is, a white necklace or a white bow, then I've seen some nice backgrounds in like a light brown or a slate color to offset the white without competing with the product. But just keep in mind that it's similar to like window displays that you walk past in the mall. If it's not aesthetically pleasing, then you're not going to feel motivated to walk through the door and browse. So it's the same thing. You want to motivate the customer to walk through your store, walk through the process of purchasing from your shop. But photos do take practice. The more you take, the better they'll get. So you just have to stick with it. And I do understand getting frustrated with it and feeling like, oh, forget it, just throw something up there so customers can see it and buy something. And when I look back at my photos from when I first started my shop, first of all, it's embarrassing. And I actually can't believe that anyone ever bought anything from me. I feel like I should probably send a thank you card to my customers for trusting me when I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. They literally had to just buy it and hope that when it showed up, it looked better than what the picture did. But my point is that as you're better able to take pictures, you're better able to convey how wonderful your products are, and your customers are going to be more excited to purchase your products. So also, while we're talking about photos, I want you to be sure that you're showing multiple angles so that customers are able to see as much of your product as possible. If you can show them the different little nooks and crannies, or show them the different textures, show them as much as possible so that they can get to as close as holding your product as possible, they're going to be more likely to convert to customers or buying customers. Also, if you can show a lifestyle pic with your item in use, this helps the customer envision themselves using your product, and that helps with conversion as well. iPicky, it's IPICCY, is a great app for taking photos on a white background. You can also find someone on Fiverr. I know that I talk about this website all the time, but it's really a great tool for finding a virtual assistant for an inexpensive amount of money to help you. And on Fiverr, you can find someone to cut out your photos so that they can be placed on a white background. All you would have to do is take a picture of your item on a white poster board. They can cut it out for you, and for $10, they'll do 15 to 20 pictures, and then you can put them on Etsy, and it looks super professional. So really consider that if it's not something that you can do yourself. The next thing that you want to evaluate is whether or not you're targeting the right audience. So you could have a fabulous product with great SEO and a rock solid marketing plan, but it could be attracting the wrong market. You may be attracting a market that's not actually interested in your product. So maybe you are marketing to millennial moms, but your product is actually a better fit for an older market. So if you're getting a lot of traffic but a low amount of orders, it may be time to take a step back, spend some time researching your market, and make sure that you're advertising to the right people. It could be a super simple fix of just needing to retarget to a new audience. The third thing you want to evaluate for is customer confusion. Are your customers confused by what's in the listing? So write this down. A confused mind says no. If your customer is confused, they're going to leave your shop without purchasing. So most people, instead of sending you a message to ask a question for clarification about something that they don't understand, they're just going to close out of your listing and see if they can find something else in a different shop. So if you find yourself getting asked the same question over and over, or something similar over and over, then it's time to update your listings. And actually, something that I have done is that anytime I have a customer email with a question, I just automatically assume that there were probably several other customers that had that same question but didn't want to go through the hassle of emailing me. So I always go back and evaluate my listings and see if there's something that needs to be updated. Now, a lot of times that the answer to that question is in the listing, because I've been doing this for so long. The majority of that stuff is already there. But maybe I need to simplify how I've got it stated in the listing, or I need to rearrange where it is in the listing, or separate it out of the listing and into multiple listings so that it's easier for the customers to find. So I just always make sure to go back and evaluate it and see if there's something that I can do to make it a simpler process for customers and make it easier for them to check out. Something else that has really helped me in the way of having less questions is adding pertinent information to a photo. So now that we have additional photos on Etsy listings, I think we used to only have like 4 or 5. I have an infographic with answers to frequently answered or frequently asked questions as an extra opportunity for questions or for customers to receive the information that they need. So if by chance they're one of those customers that only look at the pictures and don't read the listing, I should be able to catch them in the pictures. And then if there's someone that only reads the listing description but doesn't scroll through all of the photos, then I should be able to catch them through the listing. And at least between one of those ways, they should get the answer to their question. The fourth thing to consider is offering a discount for the first time purchase. I'm sure that you've noticed that the majority of online sellers or big box stores online, they offer a discount that first time that a customer comes to their site. Well, the reason for this is that the first yes from a customer is the hardest. It's much easier to get a repeat customer to buy from you again than it is to get them to buy from you the first time. So by offering them a discount, you're making it a lot easier for them to say yes to you. So there's a lot of variables that the customer has to worry about when they're purchasing online. Is it going to look like the photo? Will it actually ship? Will it get here on time? Is it going to be good quality? So customers they're taking a risk when they're ordering based on pictures and a few sentences online. Make it easier for them by offering them a discount to join your email list. Then you have the ability to market to them later, and then you give them an incentive to purchase from you and to get to know your brand. Once they know your brand, you're more likely to create a repeat customer. And maintaining your brand, maintaining a sustainable business with repeat customers is much easier. I'd be willing to say 10 times easier than constantly looking for the next new customer who's never purchased from you before. All right, so the fifth thing that I want you to look at, if you have a low conversion rate, is your listing descriptions. If you have a low conversion rate, you may need to work on your listing descriptions because they're probably focusing on the features rather than the benefits. While it's important to include the features of your products, your customers are actually more concerned about the benefits. So, what's the difference between a feature and a benefit? A feature, it tells you what the product does. But the benefit actually answers the customer question of what's in it for me. So you want to focus on selling the result, not the product. When you're writing your listing descriptions and when you're deciding what the benefits are, I want you to keep in mind these questions. What does it do? What effect does it have on my customer's life? And what kind of emotion does it cause for the customer? Will it cause a positive emotion, or is there a negative emotion that it's going to eliminate? How is this going to make my customer feel? Sell that feeling in the listing descriptions so that the customer feels like they have to buy your product. The biggest factors you want to focus on when looking at your conversion rate are your photos, targeting the right market, avoiding customer confusion, helping customers say yes to the first purchase, and improving listing descriptions. As shop owners, this is something that will always be a work in progress. You will always be tweaking, testing, and adjusting. If you want to get really specific, you can look at individual listings and apply these strategies to each specific listing as needed. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the Handmade Entrepreneur Life Facebook group, and I will be happy to help in any way that I can. If you found this episode helpful, please take a screenshot of the podcast photo and share it on Instagram or Facebook so that we can help as many handmade entrepreneurs as possible. Thank you so much for listening today, and I will talk to you soon. Bye! For an in-depth training on how to 10 up your competition and provide value for your customers, check out CupcakeInsider.com. It's 100% free and hosted by my friend Renee Christie. No strings attached.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.